This is the Aventon Level 3. The Level 2 needed a refresh, and a refresh we have.
We're talking complete ride customization via Aventon's ride tuning, built-in security via a wheel lock, as well as some included creature comforts that all commuter bikes need.
Like a suspension seat post and an adjustable stem, but also some beautiful colors. We are getting ahead of ourselves though. In this full review, first we'll walk you through all the components, then we'll get into some first-person riding footage, put the motor to the test, and finally we will give you the pros and cons. Did Aventon perfect the Level 3, yes or no? But first, let's take a closer look. I'm Ryan from eBike Escape.
And I'm JT from eBike Escape.
You might be wondering about price. The Level 3 comes in at $18.99 and yes, includes Aventon's new ACU. I can't wait to talk to you all about it. But first, if you do plan to purchase an Aventon electric bike, do me one quick favor. Just use our affiliate link down in the description or scan the QR code on your screen right now before you make your purchase. It's a free and easy way to support us here at eBike Escape. Thank you so much for your support. Let's talk frame size and colors.
Start with the most eye-catching part. It's got to be the colors. So we have the step-through model here, which is available in 2 colors. You have the sandstone that you see here, as well as a glacier mint. And then on the high step model, we have 2 matte color options. You have the Aurora, which is this purple, or a matte black. Each frame is offered in a regular and a large variant. This is the high step regular, and I'm a 5'7" rider with a 29-inch inseam. This is how I fit on the regular high step.
And yes, 2 sizes on the step through as well. That's gonna be our recommendation, just so much more accessible. 17.4 inches here, super easy to get your leg over. This is the size large, and I am a 6 foot tall rider with a 32-inch inseam. No problem getting full leg extension. Each model has a total weight capacity of 300 pounds, and the bike weighs in at 67 pounds. Before we get into what I view as the huge changes on this bike, let's talk the other components. For the first time on an affordable electric bike, we have Magura 2-piston hydraulic disc brakes, and those are paired with 180 millimeter Magura rotors. The bike is rolling on Kenda tires, reflective sidewalls. These are 27.5 by 2.2 inches wide, street tread of course. And that front wheel is attached with a through axle. And this being Aventon's fully outfitted commuter, if you will, we have all the accessories, plastic fenders in the front and in the rear.
And sticking with that complete commuter package, we have a suspension front fork. This is an Aventon branded fork, which has a lockout on the right, as well as a preload adjustment on the left. And this is a 80 millimeter travel front fork. Give it a couple quick pushes for you. And we have this bright LED Aventon branded light up here on the stem.
Runs off the main battery.
And then as you come around to the rear, you will notice these nicely integrated rear taillights, complete with blinkers.
For the first time, the Level sports an adjustable stem, something that a lot of Level riders put on anyway. This allows you to fully adjust them if you want to be in a more upright riding position, or if you want to be more aggressive, you can do that as well. Aventon has also cleaned up the cable routing quite a bit around the stem.
And as we move into the cockpit, we have some optional accessories up here, such as the bell, cell phone mount, and mirror. We have Aventon branded locking grips. And then paired with those Magura calipers, we have Magura brake levers. And Ryan and I are both in agreement that the different design these Magura levers have makes them overall easier to pull and easier to modulate. And these Magura brakes do not have motor cutoffs. We have Shimano's 8-speed trigger shifter and a throttle located on the left. This is a thumb throttle.
And a USB-A port is located beneath the display. Let's talk about the controls and the display. 5 buttons for the controls on the left side, power button in the center. And this is Aventon's center mounted display. So we have battery capacity in the top right-hand corner, speed front and center, pedal assist off, eco, sport, and turbo, fully customizable as we'll show you in a second. and walk mode can be engaged by holding pedal assist down. Odometer in the bottom and estimated range, which yes, does change depending on your pedal assist level. Hitting the power button will cycle through additional information over to average speed, max speed, total time, and some CO2 reduced, and back to odometer and range. Turn signals can be enabled by hitting the left or right button indicator right here, and they do turn off automatically after around 15 to 20 seconds. And the magic of this bike really happens when you get to the advanced settings, so you can clear your trip data. There's a battery lock. Yes, there are no keys on the bike, and I could unlock it by hitting the power button. We'll show you how the battery removes in a bit. You can also lock the bike, display unit, brightness, auto power off. You can require a password, error history, system info, but most importantly, connect to app. So first, you'll need the Aventon app. I'm gonna go to Me and click Pair. Scan the QR code. We'll call this the Level 3. And the most important thing here is, yes, you can control pedal assist levels, whether the lights are on, but more importantly, you can go to more settings, and this is where you can customize the top speed. We are going to set it to 28 miles per hour as a Class 3 e-bike for our testing. And then you have Ride Tune, which I think is a game changer. Only 3 levels of pedal assist, but you can fully customize Eco, Sport, and Tour, all the way down to max torque, assistance. And so all I'm going to change here is that in Turbo, we get maximum assistance. And you can see how these pedal assist levels impact power, range, and smoothness. So I'll apply these settings to this bike. And we mentioned the ACU. That is Aventon's smart system on their newer models, which started with the Abound SR. So I'm going to enable that on this bike. You get it free for 1 year, and then it's $20 a year after that, though I think that's a reasonable price to pay, especially for all the features you get. I've activated the network. Also in e-bike settings, you can also enable the alarm. We'll show you that when we lock the bike. You can put the bike in transport mode, but what's really cool is the geofence that you can set up. So you can choose where you want this bike to ride, and as soon as you exit that area, the bike just completely won't work. That's great, of course, for theft deterrence. And this is how it looks when you set a geofence. You can set all these standard shapes, but then you can also pull depending on how wide of range you want the geofence to be in. So you can make it as big or small as you want. And then yes, with that data connection, you also get the live tracking. The bike can also notify you if your bike is moving, which is super handy. And you can detect unusual activity. There's a slider depending on sensitivity. So let's see how much unusual activity it takes to enable this. And that is the sound of the alarm going off. Not super loud, but certainly something. Let's give you a close-up of the bike lock. Now, 2 ways to do it. You can do it within the display right here by hitting the power button, or you can do it on the app right here. So I'm going to lock it, and this is the lock right here, and you're gonna hear it. And then there's a pin, and you might need to move the bike slightly, but this one locked in place right away. And yeah, I mean, you could carry this bike away, but you're definitely not going to roll it. And you can also automatically lock the bike every time you turn it off. Hit the power button, and the lock is now engaged. So that is an awesome security feature. And then you have the rest of the app settings we've had for a while on the Level. You can record a ride. You can discover what other Aventon riders are doing. There's also some gamification in here as well. Overall, an excellent app experience, and you're simply not going to have all this smart technology at this price point on any other electric bike. Next, let's talk battery. And yes, it is cross-compatible with the Abound SR.
So starting in a place that you don't normally go to take the battery out, let's go to the advanced settings, and you'll go to here, battery lock, and you'll hear, once you go into it, you push the power button, and it'll pop down, catches on its own little latch, and there's a little button here you press with your thumb to pull the battery out. And quickly worth noting, if you can hear that, the alarm is working even with the battery removed. This is a 36 volt, 20 amp hour battery. And this battery is UL 2271 certified, as well as the entire level 3 is UL 2849 certified. And included with the level 3 is a 4 amp charger, which will allow you to charge this battery from completely empty in just 5 hours. Located up here on the top, we also have a nice carrying handle. And then on the bottom of the battery, we have this 5 LED display to tell you the battery charge. And on the front here is also where you would plug in your charger. The battery can be charged on or off the bike.
So that's the new battery. Yes, no keys to remember, all done through that display.
And to put the battery back in, you simply line up the bottom first, and then you just plug it in.
As far as graphics, we have a level on the down tube of the step through here, Aventon branding here, designed in California, some accents on the seat tube, and we have an Aventon branded saddle, a little bit wider than usual, complete with a suspension seat post. Comfort-wise, if you're looking for a super cushy ride, not going to be this seat, you might want to pick up a aftermarket one. Suspension seat post, JT, demonstrate that.
It's a very basic pogo stick style suspension seat post, but worth noting is that if you pull the seat out here on the bottom, you have a preload adjustment. So if you're a heavier rider or a lighter rider, you can move that in and out to preload the spring.
We have a rear mounted kickstand, matching Magura brake in the rear. The rear rack has a 59-pound capacity. It has pannier hangers and has the ability to handle some aftermarket accessories. The motor is a 500-watt motor, 60 newton meters of torque, and of course it is engaged with a torque sensor. We'll talk all about that in the first-person riding footage.
For a drivetrain, we have a Shimano Altus rear derailleur, which is moving the chain over a 12 to 32 tooth rear cassette. And if we follow the chain up, we have this Aventon branded chainstay protector, single-sided chain guard up here in the front, which is covering a 48 tooth front chainring.
And check out these pedals, a little bit wider than usual, plastic, but they do give you some grip. Now we know the bike is smart enough, but how does it perform? Let's get into some first-person riding footage. All right, let's get into our testing. First test, throttle only, up to 20 miles per hour. And with pedal assist turned off, no access to the throttle, but full access as long as you're in eco. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, throttle only. 500-watt motor. There's 10, 13, 16, and 20 miles an hour. Let's test out these brakes. So much easier to pull. And with these brakes, we said no motor cutoffs. So no, the motor does not stop when you hit the brakes. And that also means that the rear taillights are not brake actuated. Now, some of those other Aventon models do have the taillight engaged when you brake. So definitely a trade-off, more name brand or Tektro with motor cutoffs. All right, let's go through the various pedal assist levels. Now, the only thing that I changed on the bike is in turbo. I wanted 100% assistance. Normally, the assist is 40, 60, 90, and of course, you can fully tune it to however you want, but we wanted to keep it mostly to stock settings so you can get an idea of what to expect. Now, this bike, like the previous version, has a torque sensor. What does that mean? Well, the more power that I put in to my legs, the more power I'm going to get from the motor. That's compared to a cadence sensor, which just senses if you're pedaling or not. And so the torque sensor just offers a much more natural riding experience. And I did override the bike to 28 miles per hour. You can do so as well, as long as your local laws allow you to do so. But let's go in eco to start with. And first gear here, I am going to want to shift up. This is just a gentle boost here. Let's go into third gear. Up a slight hill though. Going about 9 miles an hour at a more leisurely cadence, and then more power from my legs equals more power from the motor. Cruising about 12 or 13 miles an hour. So eco, definitely the pedal assist level where you just get more of a workout if you want it. Third gear though feels pretty good. And let's see just how fast we can get in eco, putting in a lot of effort here. There's 16, 17, working really hard. All right, let's go into sport mode. We'll start just spinning the legs nice and easy. I expect around 15 miles an hour. There's 12. And fourth gear, just putting in a little bit more power. Let's go into fifth gear. Yeah, and already getting close to 20. And let's put in a lot of effort and see what we can get to. Sixth gear, 26 miles an hour, according to the display, 25. Got a stop sign. All right, and next, going up into turbo. Let's see what the cruising speed, going to go back down to fifth gear. And I can really feel, just with the slightest more input, the motor wants to give me more power. So the nice and easy speed in turbo, 16 miles an hour. And this is a pace I could keep up all day, 16 miles an hour. But how hard is it to get to 28? All right, a little bit more effort, not a ton. Let's go up to seventh gear. Remember, that's of 8. Going 21, 22. Shift up, eighth gear. And pedaling harder now, 27. And there is 28 miles an hour. You certainly have to put in some effort, but even a moderate amount of effort, the 20s is certainly doable. This is our hill climb test, the steepest incline we could find near us, and it has the additional difficulty of having speed bumps as well. So we are going to go throttle only, and we'll see what the bike can do. Again, 500 watts, here we go. And no problem getting me going over the speed bump. 7, 8 miles an hour. Over the next speed bump, there we go. And yeah, we didn't cruise up the hill, but this 500 watt motor still has plenty of power and plenty of torque, especially if you planned to pedal it. With that, let's get into our third person riding footage and we'll give you the pros and cons of the all new Aventon Level 3. What are the pros and cons of the Aventon Level 3? Well, definitely a lot of pros, lots of improvements from the previous generation, but also some things that we would like to see improved. No bike is perfect after all.
So I actually got to look at the Aventon Level 2 more recently than Ryan, and the biggest change that I thought needed to happen between the Level 2 and Level 3 was they needed to kind of change some of the frame geometry, and that's exactly what they did on the Level 3.
So it's a little bit more stretched out, a slightly longer wheelbase, not huge, but they also changed the head tube angle. It makes it a little bit more relaxed. Now, to be fair, this is more of their sporty design commuter, especially compared to the Pace, but it is a little bit more comfortable than the previous generation, and that's also helped by that adjustable stem. Really happy to see that change. Certainly Aventon listened to their customers. And to go along with the adjustable stem, I actually think it's cool that they put a suspension seat post. Now, it is a basic suspension seat post, but I'd rather have it than not. And for all of these additional features that they are now including on this electric bike, they're not charging any more really than they did for the previous Level 2. Another thing I love is Aventon offers 2 different frame styles, yes, step through or the high step, but also 2 different frame sizes. It's not something we typically see at the more budget price point. And that just allows more people to pick up a Level 3.
And something that didn't change on the Level versus the old one is that this is the complete commuter. So what do I mean by that? It comes with fenders, comes with the rear rack, and even now, like Ryan said, comes with that adjustable stem. It's a commuter that's ready to go right out of the box.
And even if you don't plan to just commute, commuter is kind of a weird word for just riding paved paths. Trust me, everyone who bought this bike is not commuting. Otherwise, that is a ton of people commuting to work on an electric bike. I think the standout thing, we talked about the frame geometry changing, but Aventon just continues to impress me as it relates to a premium look. The first time I saw this paint job, I was just super impressed. Of course, the smooth welds, but the unique colors, like no other electric bike looks as nice as this at this price point. It's something only Aventon seems to be able to do.
And of course, the biggest way Aventon is able to achieve that is because they own their own factories.
And to go along with the aesthetics of the bike, I have to shout out Aventon for internally routed cables right by the stem, just a much more clean look. And one benefit we haven't talked about is Aventon's 1,800 plus dealer network. And even at this price point, they're not charging a significant premium to get that bike shop experience. I'm personally a huge fan of the new hydraulic disc brakes from Magura. It's just a brand that we've never seen at the sub $2,000 price point. And besides some of those features, everything is kind of hidden in the bike within the ACU, Aventon's smart connected technology e-bike, a bunch of buzzwords, but actually it's pretty awesome being able to track the bike. And they also were able to put in that wheel lock, which is a super unique design. I mean, that's not a part that has existed and Aventon just decided, yes, we want to do that. That was something they completely did custom. And not only do they have it on their Abound SR, they now brought it to their Commuter.
Yeah, you get a complete security package that is complemented by that ACU, being able to do all of that stuff from your phone.
And on top of that, you also have the ride tune functionality, which is probably the biggest change as it relates to the ride of this electric bike. The motor power feels about the same, the torque sensor feels about the same, but within those 3 pedal assist levels, you just have complete control of how you want to tune the bike. And it's also very easy. Other companies have some ways to customize and tweak things slightly, but it's just so obvious how to do it. I would trust my parents to use the app and be able to move those sliders and kind of see the changes that they're making to this electric bike.
Yeah, that is one of the good things about Aventon having had an app for so long, that they've been able to perfect and make the app really as easy to use as they possibly could. And I don't have any complaints for it.
And so, yeah, if you live in an area where theft could happen, the $20 a year subscription fee is well worth the cost after the first free year. But as reviewers, no electric bike is perfect. We won't stop reviewing electric bikes until we find the perfect one. Yeah. Let's go through the list that we've compiled.
One of the changes they made to the Level 3 is that they finally gave it blinkers like we've seen on some of the other Aventon models. But with the inclusion now of the blinkers, they removed brake lights. So they are just tail lights, and that's because there are no motor cutoffs located up here in the Magura brakes.
But in addition to the brake lights, you also don't have motor cutoffs, which means as soon as you hit the brakes, the motor isn't going to cut power. Really, you just need to be more careful with the throttle of this electric bike. So it's more of a training thing, something to be aware of. As an avid rider, I personally don't mind, but I know that there's a lot of people out there buying their first electric bike, and it's something to be mindful of.
So one of the things that stayed the same on this level that we wish didn't is that located down here on the bottom of the display, you still get a USB-A charging port, not the USB-C that we have almost become accustomed to seeing on all new electronics.
It is 2025 after all. I think we all need to move to USB-C everything.
If Apple did it, Aventon should do it.
Another one for me is the battery location. So we do often see batteries that are located beneath the down tube. Sometimes they can be a little bit tricky to remove the first couple of times, but something I noticed is that yes, the charger port is located on the battery right here. There's no quick access port along the frame. So that's something to keep in mind. It might be easier to just remove the battery within the display and bring the battery in for charging. That's what I do a lot of times anyway. But otherwise, you're gonna have to take a cord and go under here and make sure you have it plugged in properly.
But what you don't have to climb under there with is keys, because now we have the battery removal in the display. It's electronically actuated. And then one of the last things that should just kind of be said, I don't know if it's a huge knock against the bike, is that you do have to put in effort if you want to reach that 28 miles per hour.
Yes, this is a 500 watt motor. This isn't a 750 watt motor that's peaking much higher than that. It feels like a bike that's meant to be pedaled, though you can cruise more easily into the 20s. And if you've decided that the Level 3 or any other Aventon electric bike is the right e-bike for you, do us one quick favor, just use our affiliate link down in the description before you make your purchase, or scan the QR code on your screen now. Or if you buy in store, send me an email at ryan@ebikeescape.com. We can still get credit Thank you guys so much for your support.
The Aventon Level 3 is definitely going to be the commuter e-bike that we're going to be recommending to people. What do you guys think? Let us know what commuter e-bike you guys would recommend to people down in the comments below. And let's start a conversation on what Aventon could come out with on the Level 4.
Let me know what you're most surprised about, because there's a lot going on here that surprised me and impressed us. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Catch you guys in the next one.